Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final session of Cleaning Technology Talks. This session is all about new technologies that drive sustainability in hotels. Now, technology and sustainability are more than just buzzwords of present times. They are a necessity. So we dedicate the final session of Cleaning Technology Talks to them. Before we get started, let's meet our panelists. Joining us for this session is Mr. Suman Basu, Executive Housekeeper, Movenpick Hotel, Jumeirah Beach. Ms. Tatiana Ahmed, Director of Housekeeping, Grand Hyatt Dubai, and Chairperson of the UAE Professional Housekeepers Group. And finally, Mr. Saifuddin Beldi, Country Manager, UAE and Lower Gulf Fine Solutions. A hearty welcome to all of you. We appreciate you being here today. Just a quick reminder for the audience before we get started. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask the panelists, please type them into the question box on your panel and I'll bring them up during the session. So let's begin. My first question is open to all the panel members. Now, how important is it for hotels to opt for sustainable initiatives and how has this changed over the past few years? Tatiana, if you could take this question first.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having us here today on this session. Yeah, I think the hospitality industry has become very competitive. And I think if you don't have this, if you don't do these green initiatives, you're really losing out on your business. You know, this is first and foremost. And I think today, looking at the guests which we are accommodating, you know, the newer generation, let's say the millennials, you know, they are really looking at this kind of things, you know, whether you have sustainable initiatives in place, you know, and how, yeah, sustainable you are as a whole, you know, not only as the hotel itself, you know, but the company. It goes on a wider scale, you know. I mean, we are all working here for hotel chains, you know, and I think it all filters down from up our sustainable goals, what we have to achieve within a certain time frame. And this is super important today in today's world. People look at that, you know. Sustainable tourism, for example, is also there, where people really only go, you know, when you bottle your own water or you have large size amenities rather than small bottles and stuff like that. It is super important, I think, for the hotel industry to have a green initiative program.
Thank you, Tatiana. Saif, from a manufacturer's perspective, how important do you think it is for hotels to opt for sustainable initiatives? And, you know, being in this industry for so long, how have you seen this change over the past years?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, just what Tatiana just mentioned, lately, like if we look at the Q4 starting September, the reports that are going out, all of them are mainly focusing on sustainability in the hospitality and travel industry. So, for example, one of the studies made by Skift in September 2021 says that 83% of travelers are looking for a sustainable trip right now. This is actually in a huge contrast versus what was in 2018, where most of the researchers or the research were referring to the fact that there is no real significance to consumers going to hotels on sustainability. They appreciate it, but if it has a huge price tag, they don't go. Also on Booking, latest sustainability report, I think more than 70% of the customers, consumers also are looking at a sustainable experience, and 61% said that the pandemic actually pushed them to consider that more. And absolutely, you see that also on the younger ages, much more. Another research also says that not only in hospitality, but more like 80% of consumers look for brands to help them achieve their goals in sustainability, and also whether on the business, on their daily life, or also on their society and community. So 100%, I think this is explains also the fact in the UAE that Dubai wants to be the most sustainable city in a decade or so. So absolutely.
Thank you, Seth. Suman, what are your thoughts about this?
To add on what Saif and Tatiana said, that now you will see brands, hotel brands are more recognizing sustainability development, sustainability initiatives, and sustainability technology in their hotels. Because a customer, when they choose a hotel nowadays, they see these things. They see where is the if the hotel has been recognized by a sustainable initiative. Are they following any sustainability initiative in their hotel? As Tatiana had mentioned before, that nowadays we are moving out of the single bottle amenities to the larger dispensers. So these are the initiatives, they look into it. So and they don't mind paying more even to stay in this kind of hotels who are helping the environment stay green. So if I am talking about Movenpick JBR, like Movenpick, as you know, is a part of Accor now. And Accor follows a sustainability initiative called Planet 21. So as a part of Accor hotels, we are following the same. And in that doing so, the hotel has been Green Globe certified, as we are following the Green Globe initiatives. So doing that, so we can market the hotel, or we can it can be used as a unique selling point for the hotel to the audience or to the customers, saying that the hotel is following a Green Globe initiative. The Green Globe certificate can be showed in the hotel website that the hotel is Green Globe certified, which again helps us to get more loyal customers in the coming period.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Suman. Yes, Tatiana, you would like
I just want to add, it's not only from the guest perspective, right? But it's only from the owners, because you ultimately, you also increase your profitability if you have flow restrictors, if you have LED lighting, you know, if you use sunlight, you know, for whatever solar, you know, to get something moving or get something heated, you know. On the long run, you know, it's also the profitability which is being increased, you know, not only the improvement of the guest experience. And of course, also, as Suman said, you know, being this larger corporations, you know, you are recognized as an industry leader, you know, if you are the one who takes the first step forward, you know, and come up with something innovative and starting to implement it, you know, this is also very important.
Certainly. Now, in the past 2 years, what we have seen is that on one hand, there is sustainability, and on the other hand, there is infection prevention, which both of these are equally important. So, you know, how do we balance between the two in hotels?
You mean, okay, the balance between infection prevention and being sustainable?
Yeah, that's
I think first and foremost, you know, we have to make sure, you know, guests are coming to the hotel or they're leaving the hotel, you know, they have forgotten a mask, you know, whatsoever. Yes, you know, provide a guest a mask, you know, but it doesn't have to be single packaged, right? So I think with the pandemic, we have started, you know, giving a lot of small things out, you know, gloves and single packed sanitizer wipes, and, you know, everything comes packed and everything is, you know, double packaged, you know, and like you go to certain airlines, you get a big box of stuff, you know. Do we really need this kind of things? You know, I think most of the travelers, they have their sanitizer in the handbag, you know, and yes, when we walk out and we forgot our mask, you know, please do help the guest, you know, and give him something, but it doesn't have to be single packed always, you know. There is too much packing material going around with, with trying to prevent the spread of COVID. I think this is something we all should look at.
Certainly. Suman, would you like to add to this?
To add on what Tatiana just said, I also believe contactless service has been very much prominent, especially with the inception of COVID-19 in our lives, because we know that the virus spreads through contact between a human being to a human being or a surface to a human being. If we can break this chain, we are much more safer. So now the hotels are opting into contactless service. Like you will see, we have removed collaterals from the room. We have removed menu cards from the room. We have introduced replacement like a QR code, which is there on the TVs, which are flashed on the TVs, which are at the reception when you check in, which are at different other locations of the room where the guest can just use his phone, scan, and order the hotel services or the menu. So in that way, the hotel stays safe, and the staff also is staying safe. Even contactless services, like we see certain hotels that there is a tray outside the room. There is a platform kind of thing which has been created. So if the guest requests for something, they are just being delivered to that area, and the guests open the door and take it from there. Again, the contract is broken. So it's very important how we handle it and how we are controlling this contactless. So again, contactless service plays a very important role in ensuring we are introducing sustainability technologies to the hotel, as well as there is a control on infections prevention.
Thank you, Suman. Now there is a question that has come in from the audience. We'll take this first. The question is from Jeans Joseph. Jeans asks, how much safety and hygiene you can give guests when you eliminate single-use amenities, as well as how much can you save on it?
When you take the single-use amenities away and you have the bulk amenities, while you are doing the showers and in the areas, you have to sanitize the bottles, of course, and you have to make sure that they're tamper-proof. They have to be installed on the wall in such a way that nobody can go and open it up and fill something else inside. This is something very important, there is a key for the mechanism to open it up, and then this can only be done by the room attendants. And so no guest can fiddle with it and do something which is not supposed to be done. I think this is important. And how much can you save on it? Well, it depends, if you buy in bulk, I think it's always cheaper than when you're buying in small bottles. So definitely there will be some saving on it. Or even if you break even, it's still, you're reducing on waste, which is, if you multiply every month we are getting boxes and boxes and boxes of soaps and of shampoos and all this in. So whatever comes in also has to go out. If you calculate this, how many skips full of these plastic bottles you throw out every month or every year, there's also a saving on it, right? Because you're reducing your waste. So there's less waste going out. Each skip costs, I don't know how much, but it costs a lot of money.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. Now, my next question is, what are the technologies that you will feel will drive sustainability in hotels? I think we'll start this one with Saif, because Fine Solutions has recently started adopting this Gambini technology, which is very exciting. So Saif, can you enlighten us about that?
Thank you very much. No, before that, and I want to go back also to the previous question from a manufacturer point of view of the audience. One key important point is we always consider that usually consumers or customers, they always consider that sustainability means reducing the use of solutions or chemicals and so on, and keeping chemicals in our minds that chemicals are harmful to the to the environment and so. But there are a lot of many of alternatives there are green chemicals, there are enzyme-based solutions. Also on the dispensers with reference, before years, many years ago, we used to use also the silver ions or microbands technology to block the development of bacteria on the dispensers, and it's still safe to use dispensers when you are in the shower or in the washroom. And that's something that's been there, and the pandemic pushed it a lot. So it gave chance to all these technologies that used to be niche technologies. And to be honest, for us, we adopted couple of those in the region, and that's the long-lasting infection prevention. I think it's the mechanical kill as versus poisoning the bacteria and so on. So at the same time, so the 2 years for us in Vine were actually we shifted the company from a tissue manufacturer into wellness company, where we want to help our customers and consumers to enjoy life, where they actually dine or stay or travel, play, and the education where they learn and they work. So we coupled this into two main axes: focus on ourselves, be social, environmentally responsible, and in these 2 years, our manufacturing facilities all went into the ISOs, all the certificates, 9001, 50,001, 14,001, and all of that. And we started with ourselves, and absolutely, as Tatiana said, this helped us a lot, save a lot of costs. So on the energy consumption, the water conservation, and if we keep in mind from a manufacturing point of view or from owners' point of view, we report to boards and so on, and investors, when the UAE is shifting into more into sustainability and where it wants to be, so for sure there will be government benefits. We cannot talk about tax cuts here, but maybe incentives from the government for the most sustainable buildings, and there are a couple of regulations or laws and starting to show. The other one is also to provide the consumer, as we said, the research showed that consumers, they look for brands to help them achieve their goals. So if we talk about the tissue, for example, it's made virgin pulp and so on. So that's cutting trees, and the question of cutting trees and the environment. So what we do in Fine, we decided to use only FSC certified suppliers of pulp. So every tree that we remove, we replace 3 to 5, sometimes more trees as number one, and also invest now on actually after pulping and creating the tissue, we invested in the state-of-the-art Gambini machine, where the throughput is more, so we produce a lot faster. So we use much less electricity, and also we use much less pulp in the tissue by air milling water into the tissue itself to give the product more performance, more absorbency, and more strength. That will enable people to use less tissue. So for all our customers, partners, they will reduce cost, and we will have less pulp thrown away. And also the consumer, the end user, the hotel guest, the diner will get a better performance. The machine we commissioned in July, and honestly, we can see already great results for the products, the feedback from customers, and also our consumers. Sorry, I wanted to answer the first question.
No problem, no problem. Please carry on.
All right. No, that's one key part, and as I said, we also focused on the long-lasting infection prevention, because now the biggest challenge for the experts in infection control and infection prevention, Tatiana and Soman, is actually that you have to do this exercise always. So if we help scientists develop products that are greener, then we use them less. So for example, if I need to disinfect or I need to sanitize or sterilize every after use, if I can reduce that instead of every use, every 24, every 48, every 1 month, maybe 1 year, I don't know, science is going so fast, that would be the greatest, the jackpot for everybody. So we're saving the environment, we're reducing costs, we're keeping customers, diners, guests safe, and at the same time providing a solution for the users who are the real frontliners. Because when you go to a hotel and you find a safe place, there are people who are working on that. So this is where also the third pillar of our strategy in finding solution is to focus on these technologies. We launched a couple of products, but I don't think it's the time to talk about products, just the vision itself.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Seth.
Yeah, I think this is actually very interesting what Saifuddin just said, this long time sanitation process, if you can use a product, you apply it, and then the area is safe, for months, irrespective of how often it has been used. I think this is amazing. I just hope, that this is really being rolled out, quickly, because it will save a lot of, it will save a lot of work, and it will save the environment. Of course, definitely, it's very important.
And it will save manpower also, I think. Like, if you see headcount and things like that, it will overall save a lot, apart from saving the environment, man hours and workforce also.
So Suman, I would like to ask you now, what are the technologies that you feel will drive sustainability in hotels?
I feel, Samia, is the paperless system and paperless technologies. Like if I talk about, as from housekeeping, to talk about the e-housekeeping system or hot sauce, which is there. So now we see our room attendants every day, morning and evening, we print reports, which they take it up to the floors. And at the end of the day, they get filed. At the end of the month, of the end of the year, they get thrown away, and it's waste. So with the housekeeping system, the reports they can view and use it in their handheld devices or their phones. So you are saving on that. Also, e-reg cards, which are there when guests are checking in, you get an iPad to the guest, do a e-reg card check-in. So it again helps save time, first of all, rather than writing it down, because generally reg cards are all pre-written and the guests just have to do a e-signature. And well, also when you are talking about when they go to the restaurants, rather than getting a paper printed menu, which is again after a while maybe have to be discarded if there is a stain on it or something like that. You get a menu which is on the iPad and show it to the guests, which can be used either like time and again. There is no expiry date to it as a such. So this paperless technologies, I think it is in the market, it is in the industry for a long time, but it will gain momentum as we, especially where now we are talking about contactless services, contactless technologies, and being more sustainable and being more green and being more digital. As we know, the world is moving ahead, being more digital in terms of technologies. This will definitely gain momentum and move ahead in the coming days.
Yeah, I totally agree what Suman says here. I mean, the digitalization, in housekeeping, is very, very important. I mean, we are using handheld devices, I don't know, for the last 6 years, 7 years. There is no looking back, all this printing in the morning, the VIP reports, the arrival report, the departure report, and God knows what. I mean, so many papers, as it is, there's too much paper still, but it's really important to become more, to embrace this digital age, and the QR codes, sending invoices by email rather than printing them when the guest is checking out. There's so many things which can be done. It is just to embrace this technology, and not to be afraid of the investment. iPads and phones are not that expensive anymore these days. And also, we use it also as a communication tool. I mean, we have a WhatsApp on there, so we have different WhatsApp groups, and just the pictures, end of the day, that everything is being done on the floors, just the pictures are being taken and then just shared with everybody. So so everybody's on the same page at any given time, so it's so wonderful, to have this technology.
Also to add on, Samia, which Tatiana just mentioned, now hotels have moved on from key cards to guests can open their doors with their mobile phones. So you are saving how much amount of plastic, because after some time, guests take away the plastic key card with them, and it end up in the skip at the end of the day. So again, there is a saving, and there is it's environmental friendly overall.
Certainly, these are some new technologies. They're really going to transform the hospitality industry overall. So now that we've spoken about multiple technologies, I would like to ask you three, from your experiences, which of these technologies will make it to the top in 2022 and why? So Saif, if you could take this first, what is your opinion?
To be honest, like this is the most volatile period of for anyone to speculate. But if I had to bet, I will first of all is the all the green alternatives to the traditional disinfection or traditional cleaning. So we will see that move quicker and quicker, because the new generation really cares about. They didn't have. This is not optional anymore. Everyone is aware at younger age, so this will push companies, brands to make the shift quicker. Also, the if I not only, because when we talk in sustainability and hospitality, it's not only about cleaning and or the back of the house and so on. It's also the supply chain itself. Now, if we look at the sustainability impact, environmental impact, also sourcing products, as we said, for example, we talked about the amenities and the bottles. So 95% of the bottles are made in China, and then the products is filled somewhere. So reducing all those shipments, reducing use of plastic, reducing the carbon footprint is also something that's going to give a positive impact or additional points. The third maybe things, we will see a lot of innovation in AI, robotics, in just-in-time services, and so on. And I think that I don't know. Also, I want to listen to the opinion of the most experienced, more experienced than me in the housekeeping, consolidating the services. I know, for example, in the US, housekeeping is done. I've seen also a couple of here in the UAE, facility management also doing housekeeping. Is this also something that's gonna maybe drive the future in hospitality? So, but as I said, this is the most volatile time to speculate. I'm betting on the green alternatives and AI.
Tatiana, why don't you add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to say, you know, and the year just has started, you know. I mean, there's so many new things on the way, you know, and I wish, you know, that the long-term sanitation or disinfection, you know, that this really takes off, you know. But you have also other technologies, you know, which are so sustainable. Like, for example, you have this electrolyzed water, which where you combine water, electricity, and salt, and it creates a disinfectant and a cleaning agent, you know. I have tested it, you know, and we've done swab tests after, you know, and you know, it really cleans well, and it removes bacteria. So I think this is also something which should be pushed a little bit more, you know, because I think this is really a very sustainable method of cleaning and keeping, yeah, of keeping things disinfected as well.
100%, 100%. It's absolutely, Manta. The way that science is moving, there was few concepts before, but these 2 years is pushing those concepts fast and fast. And yeah, absolutely. One of the options is this. There's also another alternative, which is the physical kill, or the, you know, before we used to talk about like silver ions or ionization, and then, you know, deactivating. But there are also components that used to be used in the animal health. You know, after the crisis of the bovine virus 20 years ago, there was a problem when you have a virus or bacteria, that it contaminates the whole herd or the whole. And then there were few concepts that were introduced is actually by treating surfaces and creating some sort of a physical bond with these components, and then you have like some sort of spikes. Whenever there is at a microscopical level, whenever there's a pathogen coming, it's deactivated by opening the membrane, and then the RNA goes out. Or this is a very also green. Now, as you said, it has to be pushed to also with because from a manufacturing point of view, is also we have to comply with regulations and laws and so on. And to change regulations and laws, it takes some time to comply with the regulators and the entities. And this is a pandemic. Nobody wants to take, nothing can happen quickly.
Yeah.
Suman, what is your opinion about this? You are on mute, Suman. We can't hear you.
Sorry, I definitely agree with what Saif and Tatiana just mentioned. Like, it's evolving. Like, we have to evolve with time, and we have to understand and embrace this change of technologies, like the electrolyte water and the other technologies which are there in the market at the moment, which does the infection control as well as is environmental friendly. And overall, it's a win-win situation, Samaya, because at the long run, we are seeing as the cost effectiveness, how cost effective it is, and how much wastage is prevented by introducing these technologies into our system, into the industry.
Thank you, Suman. We have another question from the audience here. This question is from Raquel Veloso. Raquel asks, how do you foresee the use and adaptation of robotics in hospitality industry? Is it more of innovation or marketing strategy?
I would say it's an innovation as such, because again, it saves manpower. You can utilize that man head to do something else, and as well as is efficient also, because you can control the movement. Like if I know in Singapore some hotels are using robots to like guest request items, to deliver guest request items to guest rooms. So again, they are being effective. That's why they are being used. They are not only a marketing strategy overall. And it's sustainable, and it's a contactless service, so it's safe also in that way.
You're on mute, Samia.
Samia, you are in the mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Suman. We have another comment which has come from Adrian Doolan. Adrian says 21st century has still not been adopted enough in the UAE by hospitality or cleaning companies. You need to be using products that leave a lasting residue, not just spray and wipe clean. Staff training is also so essential.
Definitely, staff training, because we have to understand when these technologies are being introduced to any hotel, who are the people who are driving this technology? It's the staff, because it doesn't drive by itself. Correct? It have to be someone driving for it. So staff training is very, very important. It plays an extremely crucial role in driving this technology, ensuring these are followed, and ensuring they are aware of what they are doing. The awareness should be there in the staff. They should understand, by following this or by doing a particular sustainable technology which the hotel have adopted, what are they going to achieve in the long run? So that understanding should be there in the staff. So in that, like, we have to reiterate and again in our briefings, in our meetings. And to talk about this, Samia, like our general manager here, Miss Emery, she is very, very environmental focused. She is very into green initiatives. So as now we have meetings or staff meetings, monthly meetings through Zoom or video calls and things like that, where to ensure that proper social distancing is mentioned, she talks about what are the hotel initiatives coming up. She talks about what are the green initiative the hotel is adapting, and how is it beneficial for us as a chain, for us as a staff, and for the guest overall. So that, I think that process of informing them, training them, and keeping that chain flowing, keeping that information flowing is very, very important.
Thank you, Suman. Now we have another question from the audience. This time around, our audience is very interactive. You know, they have been very interactive throughout the session. A lot of questions coming in from them. So this question is from Maricel, and Maricel asks, do you have carbon footprint and ESG compliance measures or technology in place right now?
Definitely, I can speak on the three. Yes, definitely.
All right. Thank you. So my next question is, there is this preconceived notion that, green technologies or green initiatives are not very cost effective. In fact, in some of the previous sessions that we did before Cleaning Tech Talk, many people raised this point that, eco-friendly technologies are not cost effective. So Saif, what are your thoughts about this?
This is something, how can I start? This is a perception that is there, but there is no proof to that, and I believe it is the complete opposite. First of all, for three main reasons. First of all, the nature of going sustainable is you have to look on any change. So any change, you have to look at the cost of ownership, the life cycle of the project. Of course, you're gonna invest if you're changing. Even the linen you're changing today, you're going to invest, but is it going to give you a saving on the life cycle of the project? Definitely, number one. Number two, also, when we talked about these alternatives, so if we talk about long-lasting infection prevention, the automatic thing is that you're going to reduce the manpower. So that manpower is gone. Now, if you do the comparison versus a time frame, 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, whatever the life cycle, definitely you will be saving. But now this is also the third axe is in air fresheners. So there is another subject, not really, but in air fresheners, aerosol is the main component that takes the fragrance throughout the space or anywhere. That's great, is the cheapest solution, and is technically technically viable. But when you compare this in any place that taxes the use of aerosol or taxes the import of aerosol, or the storage of aerosol is much more expensive, than when you get the final product, you will get at an equal, or maybe you get benefit if you get in the government incentive or tax cuts when you go sustainable. So there was a perception, because it's like any new technology. PlayStation at the beginning used to be very expensive to consumers. Now almost every house in the developed world there is a PlayStation. Is not expensive anymore, because the way you look at it, it is important to me, so it is less expensive, and I can put on that. And to be fair, the last 2 years, based on the reports, the shift has been amazing. Customers are ready to pay more to get in sustainable properties, to get more sustainable products, and to work with more sustainable brands. So it's a perception. I don't believe so, whether technically, mathematically, by calculating, and also from the customer behavior.
Yeah, I think I agree there, really, that people always have this perception of things are being so expensive. But see, you first have to invest, right, in order to earn. So I think, if we have to install now the big bottles for the products in the bathrooms, they come with the brackets, and of course, maybe you have to refill them. That is also, it's labor intensive. But you have to calculate your return of investment also. And if you go over a couple of years, then you also understand, the time span, what you are saving. And the same is also with some other products. I mean, even if you buy a new machine tomorrow, which consumes less electricity, and maybe it's more expensive, but maybe it works faster, maybe it's easier to handle, maybe there is less maintenance cost, and all these things have to be taken into consideration. First, you have to invest in order to make sure that the new product runs and is accepted and it's being rolled out properly, and then later on you will get the savings. That's the same with a bottling plant now. So many hotels want to have a bottling plant and then bottle their own water, but yeah, that is a really good investment behind that. But on the long run, definitely you will be saving.
Samia, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I was coming to you. So what are your thoughts about it? How economically viable do you think, our sustainable technologies are?
To cite an example, in our hotel, like if I'm talking about my hotel, we had our engineering department have introduced the motion sensor technology for the lights in the back of the house areas, so that when it's not busy or where the traffic is not more, the lights dim down and energy is saved. When it was initially conceptualized and it was put in to the table, definitely there was a big cost involved, because you have to get the sensors, you have to get the circuits for it, there is installation costs and so on and so forth. But if you see again, we see in the long run, it's savings electricity, it's saving energy, as well as at the end of the day, the bills when it comes for the electricity, there's definitely a large saving. So even which Tatiana and Saib both mentioned that initially if there is a big investment, which it will be because it's a new technology or a new machine or anything new which you are introducing, there will be an investment. But the person who initiates it should be able to explain to the management or the owners that what is the long-term return of investment they are looking into, what is the long-term cost savings they are looking into. And that way we can move forward, because they have to understand that definitely there is an investment for everything we do, but at the end of the day, on the long term, it's a cost-saving initiative. It's an environmental initiative.
Thank you, Suman. Coming towards my next question, what challenges do you face in implementing new sustainable technologies, and how do you overcome these challenges? Saif, if you could initiate this from a manufacturer's perspective.
Right now, I think the most challenging, and I think for everyone, the most challenging part is the supply chain part after the shutdown during the pandemic. For the world to go back to where it used to be and to respond quickly. But as the supply chain pushed most of prices up, commodities prices are going up. So there is a cost into moving it, and maybe, and that's, I think, one of the reasons of the question that we just had is about how expensive is it to move into sustainability. The other thing also is, that for each country globally or internationally, regulations and laws have to be passed. Europe, for example, is always in advance, pushing the world forward into implementing laws and regulations to put standards. And I think one of the key things that we don't see often is also rewarding the companies or the brands or the people who are driving. And I think this is a challenge in a way that it's always something that there is no benchmarking to it. There is no clear understanding. Just recently, Google, for example, on economy travel is introducing the eco-friendly tag for all the hotels that fulfill some of the benchmarks, Green Key or Earth Check. So these things, I believe, are missing a little bit to help suppliers, manufacturers, customers, partners to identify what's the common, to have one common understanding of this interest of everybody. All of us are interested on having a better tomorrow, but if this is all identified in one area and we all have one common understanding, I think it will be much, much easier to move forward and faster.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Saif. Tatiana, Suman, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think what is also one of the challenges is the approval process. You know, if you're looking at something to implement, you have often so many choices. And then you have to go and visit all the suppliers and read through all the material and see what really qualifies for your property. And I think this approval process, you know, to understand everything, you know, and then to put it into place sometimes can be very long, you know, and it's very backbreaking sometimes, you know, to identify the right product, you know, and then to implement it.
To add on what Tatiana said, Sami, I would see apart from the approval process, sometimes certain technologies which we are adapting for our hotel, some hotel, the structural wise, the building is an old building. So we have some structural challenges also. So that we have to like understand, like how the hotel, we have to go back to the drawing board, see the plans of the hotel, and then pick up with the plan and accordingly introduce these technologies to the hotel so that even though the building is old, things can be changed. The processes and the technologies can be changed into it and bought into it. And also, and the main I feel is the overall, the financial part of it, because when it comes for approval, especially owners or management certain times hesitate, why now, why this, that. So we have to make them understand on the basis of ROI and the basis of the long-term benefit of the investment, as what is the purpose of it and how it will help the hotel to market itself better to the customers, and more guests will come into the hotel because this following technology has been adapted to the hotel. So that's very important for them to understand and adapt to it. And if it's a big project, if the project cost is very high, so if it can be done in phases, which is more cost effective for the hotel, that can be also looked into. So, but at the end of the day, we just because we are having some building structural problem or overall financial difficulties, we should not pull ourselves back from adapting these technologies, because it's very, very important. If we don't do it now, we will be lagging behind, because the world is moving forward with the coming time, and we have to keep in pace and move ourselves forward. And it's like updating someone like a computer software or a iPhone software. It gets updated after one month, 2 weeks. So you have to keep on updating the hotel also to keep pace with time. Simple as that.
Now, coming towards my last question, what is the future of sustainable technologies in the hospitality industry? Saif, if you could specifically mention about the Gambini, because we are excited to talk about that. What is the future of technology such as Gambini in the hospitality industry?
Thank you. In hospitality, the sustainability, when we approach or enter into the subject, so there are, I think, 10 or 12 components, from energy to water conservation, chemical, poisonous substances, how we're gonna. And also, his key point is waste management. Tatiana referenced to it in the beginning, and waste management itself is a big challenge. The toilet, for example, tissue or the hand towel tissue goes into waste. So your objective, there are two components. The first component, you need to reduce the use of tissue, save cost, and save less trees or less fiber, and make the factories work less and user in, and that's the whole how we should consider it. So less carbon footprint, less import, and so on. And the second part also is to reduce the waste. So to reduce the waste, in my opinion, one of the key things of the Gambini machine, maybe it's a huge investment, as we say, when you want to move to that direction, but it will give you a smaller roll or less fibers in a roll with less number of sheets, let's say, that gives the same performance of the double or the triple of that roll. So let's talk about like 100 sheets versus 200 sheets. So this 100 sheet, they have the same size in volume, and they give you the same result of 200 sheets. So you end up using less sheets, so less waste, and you end up using less tissue, so you pay less, and you get the same result, the same performance. And this is why it is for us and for our business, whether away from home or at home, is a critical thing. People look into it, customers look into it, consumers look into it, and this is a strategic decision that we wanted, and we commissioned already the machine in July, and we strongly believe in it. The other part is also the machine is very energy efficient from a manufacturing point of view. So you're going to use less electricity to produce more. So you will reduce your energy consumption, reduce your water, reduce your pulp you use, and gives you benefit from operational point of view, gives you more volume with a less manufacturing footprint as well.
Thank you so much, Saif. That was indeed interesting information about this technology. Tatiana, what do you think is the future of sustainable technology in the hospitality industry now that we are concluding?
Well, I think we will continue to adapt and to innovate, on this platform, definitely, It's of course important that we support sustainable initiatives, and what is the future? I would personally like to see maybe more robotics in the hotel industry, and I think it's maybe not too far off, I mean, we are having already in private households, you have this vacuum machine which goes by itself, the Roomba or whatever it's called, it's like a little disc, and it whizzes around and it does things by itself. It's not the technology is not good enough now to for industrial use, but I would think this kind of things will come in a couple of years' time. I'm dreaming of a self-cleaning bathroom, so I'm not sure whether somebody can innovate this for us. But I think nothing is going to stop us, and we have to make sure that we keep on evolving on this platform of sustainability and technology, and keep on going.
Thank you, Tatiana. Suman, final thoughts on this?
I 100% agree with what Saif and Tatiana said, because we need to go green with the time, because while going green, we have to, it's reducing the wastage of being water, be it electricity, be it other products. We have to know how to recycle the wastages, what are there, the minimum wastages, as well as how we are saving the environment in the process. So all the sustainability, like the green initiative, is the future for the sustainable industry as a whole. So we have to, unless we follow ourselves, the green initiatives, make sure our hotels are equipped with this initiative, equipped with these technologies, we will be lagging behind. Overall, it will be bad for the business. So when we need to strive in the market to get our market share in business, we have to update ourselves to follow, because now environmental awareness is, it's like tea or coffee, everybody knows about it. So it's very important we keep following the green initiatives and keep updating ourselves and our hotels to ensure that we stay green always.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Suman. Thank you, Saif, and thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's my pleasure to host all three of you. And with that, the Cleaning Technology Talks comes to an end. And what a day this has been. It has been full of networking. It has been full of highly interactive discussions. And we hoped our sessions helped you gain perspective on different technologies that are shaping the cleaning industry. I'd like to thank all our listeners and speakers for being part of the Cleaning Technology Talks. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our gold sponsors, Hygiene Tech, Nilfisk, and Torque, and session sponsors, Fine Solutions, for making this event happen. Thank you once again. I'll sign off here. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.